Hello everyone, today I have a special guest who will share his thoughts from the front line. Let me introduce you to Thibaut Bodart.
Hi Patrick, thanks for having me.
Nice to have you here. I first met Thibaut back in the dot-com boom era. I recruited him to work on an innovation project and then later pulled him in to engineer and develop a global consumer web platform for a global leader in consumer electronics. That platform has been rolled out globally and today supports close to 1 million visits per day. So Thibaut is truly world-class talent playing in the Premier League. So listen to what he has to say because he's never wrong. So Thibaut, tell me, what are the biggest changes in software development in the last 5 years?
From my perspective, the biggest change of the last 5 years is the explosion of new services offered by cloud providers like AWS. They went from providing just a few low-level services to providing hundreds of tools that can address almost any problem. Do you need to store files? Okay, they offer 5 or 6 different storage solutions. You need a database? They are currently offering around 15 different database solutions. When building a new application, the first step consists in picking tools from that toolbox and gluing them together. We can now really focus on building business value instead of focusing on low-level tasks like storage, persistence, scaling, caching, and so on.
Thank you. There is currently a lot of buzz around serverless computing. Can you say a few words about what this means?
Right. Serverless computing is about forgetting about servers, disks, and networks and really focusing on the features you want to build. Companies who can take advantage of that technology will be able to innovate much faster and at a lower cost. So let me explain. A few years ago, if you wanted to build a new application to test a new business idea, you still had to install multiple application servers for high availability, multiple database servers, configure a load balancer, and so on. Using a serverless platform, you can forget about all of that and focus on building features. Testing new business ideas becomes much easier. On top of that, you typically pay based on the usage. So if you launch a new application and nobody's using it, you might end up paying just a few cents every month to run that application.
Thibaut, I know you've been working with Turkish teams for a long time. Obviously, something must be right. Can you share?
The obvious benefit is that it is quite easy to find resources. Turkey has a population of around 80 million people, and many of them graduate every year from very good universities. Most of the Turkish people I've worked with are fluent in English, since it is the default teaching language in those universities. Also, for a company based in Europe, there is a very large overlap in terms of business hours, which means that communication is very easy. And finally, a large part of the Turkish population is culturally very close to Western Europe. I think we should not underestimate this. For example, many companies have failed to build an efficient offshoring model with India because of cultural differences.
So what is the secret to making agile work in distributed teams?
I think it comes down to building relationships between team members sitting in different locations. For example, it is very important for people to meet face-to-face at the beginning of a collaboration. This could mean, for example, that a new team member will travel for 1 or 2 weeks to get to know team members from another location. Real-time messaging platforms like Slack or Microsoft Teams are very important. 80% of the communication can be done using those platforms. However, this is not sufficient. It is critical to block some time every day to talk to each other. What worked for us in the past was to use video conferencing platforms like GoToMeeting or WebEx.
Thank you, Thibaut, for sharing your thoughts. Here is what you need to remember. The cloud is more than cheap storage and capacity. Serverless computing lets you experiment faster and at a lower cost. Distributed Agile can really work if you focus on building relationships and bridge the communication gap. And Turkey has been a nice surprise for building a team. If you enjoyed the discussion, like and say thank you to Thibaut in the comments below. It takes a lot of courage to do this, and I'm sure he will appreciate it. If you have questions or are struggling to make substantial progress, drop a question in the comments below or connect and send a direct message. We work with companies struggling with digital transformation and innovation, building a game plan, assembling a winning team, increasing technology flexibility, and prototyping new ideas. Contact us today to get started. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss anything and share with colleagues who may find this useful. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's go make it happen.